Well, only one more week, 7 more days as we record this until the NFL season officially kicks off. And before we get into the NFL season, we wanted to go over some of last season's greatest moments, best plays, just the 5 things that that stood out to both of us that we really took away from the 2021 season in preparation for the 2022 season. Chuck,
Can't fucking wait, man. I actually can't wait. It's been way too long. Like, I love football.
nothing gets me going. Like, I feel like I just get better at life when football season comes on.
Oh yeah, it's therapeutic.
For sure. All right, well, let me get started with
You got it?
my number 5 moment. And my number 5 moment isn't a play, but rather it's an interview. It's an interview with the breakout player of all of last year, Cooper Kupp. And, you know, he put together this amazing season. He had like 1,000 yards, like barely to midway through the season. He's going off. And then the game versus the Jaguars, in which he had another 2 touchdowns in that game, he was interviewed after the game about one of his touchdowns, and this is what he said.
Touchdown specifically, your defender went and blitzed. What did you see there? How were you able to use that to your advantage?
Yeah, they just had a little 3-deep fire zone, brought the nickel off the edge, safety dropped down. It didn't look like they were doing a replacement fire zone, so I knew at the back away we were going to get 3 pushing through. I had an opportunity to kind of run in there if I could beat my guy and just had to beat the safety to the end zone.
If you don't follow any football, okay, forget that. I follow a lot of football, and I heard all that, and my head was just going through a giant whirlwind just listening to that.
I played college football. I understood, I think, 75% of what you were saying.
Listen, we could go over here, we could try to diagnose every single word he said, but regardless, this just shows, like,
I love that.
It's not like most receivers, like, we get all cocky about themselves. No, he just delves into straight football knowledge. Like, scrappiest elite talent ever. That's all I gotta say.
Dog. My number 5 moment. A lot of my moments were kind of towards the end of the season when it got dicey. One of those moments that I think was really alarming and just terrible in itself, if you were a fan for that team, was the Colts losing to the Jaguars in Week 18. Had a must-win game. I think they were also at home, or maybe they were in Jacksonville, but must-win game, and the better team couldn't even get it done. And the Jaguars came out with a win, and the Colts were sent home, and Wentz was also sent home to a different team.
That was a game that changed the course of maybe 2 franchises. Maybe that's the start of Trevor Lawrence's success in Jacksonville. And more than anything, it's remarkable how often teams with easy must-win games in final game of the season choke.
I love the NFL.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Number 4. One of the most historic moments of last season was the longest field goal in NFL history.
On its way. It bounces off the crossbar, and it's good! Oh my goodness!
Not only was it the longest field goal in NFL history, but it was the longest. It was a game winner. Not only was it a game winner and the longest field goal in NFL history, it was by probably the greatest kicker in NFL history, in Justin Tucker.
66.
It's going to be hard to break that.
And it was in a dome. No wind.
Yeah.
So my number 4, love watching the Cowboys just host a game at home. They have they say they have the best team.
Someone, San Francisco, to get to the quarterback here. Prescott takes off running the football. Whoa, I don't think this is going to work out.
It will. They'll be able to clock this. They were planning for it. It's down. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, the official gets in the way. The game's over. The game is over.
And then they just let it go in the end of the game to a team that had a quarterback that really nobody had faith in, but he still shows out and just got paid. So, I mean, Jimmy G is elite. He went in there into the AT&T Stadium, beat the Cowboys in their wild card game, and he made it all the way to the NFC Championship. It goes to show that Jimmy G is still elite, and he deserves that money.
Interesting take there, huh? I think it has more to do so with the Cowboys being perennial chokers, but that's just
Yeah, no, but definitely.
always good to rip on the Cowboys. Speaking of ripping on people, no one deserved to be ripped more than Urban Meyer last season. And I put this as my number 3 moment just because it was so unfathomable to think that an NFL head coach would do something like this. But Urban Meyer, week 3 of the NFL season, loses to the Bengals in Cincinnati. Tough loss, but instead of regrouping with his players, he goes out to his bar in Columbus, Ohio, gets a little too friendly with a young female, sticks his fingers in places he shouldn't, and that just sent the downward spiral of a head coach that led to him not even lasting the whole season, essentially.
Yeah.
It was, I'm still baffled by it.
Thinking about it.
Like how do you pass the interview, how do you get hired, and just ultimately just
Didn't know who Aaron Donald was.
yeah, the list goes on. It's just watching that moment, like you knew something was bad if he was doing that.
My number 3, maybe one of the best playoff games I've ever watched. Chiefs-Bills in the divisional at Arrowhead, and went down to the wire, goes to overtime. What's his name doesn't get the ball in overtime, and like now we have new rules because of this game. So just thought it was one of the most electric games I've ever seen on live television.
Think about it. The Chiefs were at like the 30-yard line with 13 seconds left. Now they had all 3 timeouts, which helped, but it's unbelievable how they got down the field for a long enough field goal in 2 plays to force it overtime. So yeah, Josh Allen never got the ball again, but the Chiefs deserved that victory totally. Number 2 was my favorite actual play of the entire season, Jamal Agnew. And Jamal Agnew had a couple of touchdowns during the season, but this was by far his most electric. It was a 109-yard kick return versus the Cardinals, and you know what? I'm just going to let Gus Johnson take it away on this one.
Got it up. And short. Agnew brings it out of the end zone. Agnew still running. Agnew down the sideline. Agnew. Touchdown, Jacksonville. 109 yards. Incredible.
Gus Johnson is just musical porn in the football industry. Musical porn, I think that made sense. That was.
He is porn. He's porn sex.
I saw that live on
the mic.
I saw that live on Red Zone. I was freaking out. And what better person on the call for that crazy play? What's not to love? And Jaguars have shown up like 3 or 4 times on this list already. That's crazy enough.
Yeah. The Jaguars have had hell of a drama season
for a 3-win team, right?
Fucking ridiculous. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence balls out. I hope they do good. I do hope they do good. My number 2, the Super Bowl as a whole, I think it was a phenomenal Super Bowl. Both teams showed out. Really just want to explain how of an impact that was toward Aaron Donald's career, I think. And just him making that last play at the end on the 4th and 1.
Donald right there. They'll go from the gun. P. Ryan in the backfield. Burrow trying to keep it going. Gets spun down. Gets it away. And incomplete. It looked like P. Ryan might have had a shot to make the grab. But the Rams now running down to celebrate with a defensive play.
And guess who? Guess who? I mean, you don't even have to think about it.
I think it was just magical for him and the Rams organization also, after moving and then losing so many times in Super Bowl and NFC championships. I think it was just a great season and Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the biggest lasting memory that everyone will have of that game is after Donald gets the sack, he goes to the camera with his teammates, he just points to the ring finger.
Yeah, ring me.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's awesome. I'm getting chills thinking about it, actually.
So my number 1 moment of last season, I was with all my friends for a cabin trip. It's the last game of the NFL season where it was Chargers versus Raiders.
That's right.
Fighting for a playoff spot. Now, technically only 1 team could get in, but 2 could get in if they tied. So that added even more intrigue to this game because it could knock the Steelers out of the picture too. And not only was it did it have those stakes on the line, but the game delivered all the hype. It back and forth, high scoring game. Mike Williams going off, Derek Carr delivering ball after ball. We got Philly on the Raiders playing the game of his life and then getting carted off as a hero. And then it came down to overtime where the Raiders and Chargers were faced with a decision. The Raiders had the ball, the 40-yard line. Do we play conservative? We're in the playoffs right now. We just take a knee. But then the Chargers called timeout, 39 seconds left, and allow the Raiders to think about it a little more, run over play. They run with Jacobs for first down, and Carlson, one of the best kickers in the league, kicks the Raiders into the playoffs and knocks the Chargers out of it. When the Chargers, if they didn't call it timeout, who knows, they could be in the playoffs and could be a totally different story.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, that was
crazy.
It really capped off what was one of the most memorable seasons that we've had in a long time in the NFL, with all the drama in the world and like
first season
COVID,
of 18
you know,
weeks. Yeah,
like that game was the pinnacle of it, and the playoffs happened to deliver even on top of it afterwards. So what's not to love about that game?
You said it here. You said it all right there. Phenomenal season. And I'm going to cap off this list with I think it's very underrated. This is one of like the games, like trap game, you would call it, for the Cincinnati Bengals. It was Bengals-Jets at MetLife, I'm pretty sure. And then you had a guy named Mike White starting for the New York Jets. I had no idea who he was. Zach Wilson was out. I think Flacco was also out or something. Or maybe Flacco was third string. But he goes absolutely off, beats the Bengals 34-31, throws for 405 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks. Phenomenal game by Mike White. I hope he stays on the Jets for a long time. Bengals also, they love to lose games against shitty teams, I have also noticed.
So yeah,
see that again this year.
Yeah, I think what's even more remarkable about it is that White came into the next game versus the Colts on Thursday Night Football and delivered a great first quarter of football, and then he hurts his finger, I believe, and gets knocked out of the game, and pretty much never hear from him again. So who knows what could have been with him? Maybe he could have somehow supplanted Zach Wilson by now. But yeah, he was just throwing darts that game. He was so accurate. And although I might not agree with you having it number 1 on your list, but your list is your list.
Yeah.
But I will say that everyone remembers Mike White after this season.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially
the Mike White game. The Mike White game.
Yeah. Super legendary. Well, that was our NFL moments of the season. Chuck, I want to ask you one final question before we head into our college football picks for this weekend.
Yes.
And what are you looking forward to most going into the year?
Oh my God, just sitting down on Sunday, putting on Red Zone. I'm hungover as tits. I just got whatever I got for lunch, maybe a nice bacon, egg, and cheese or some McDonald's, something greasy. And just sitting there watching football and enjoying myself. And then just indulging in fantasy, getting mad at fantasy, just watching Chris Hansen go off, Scott Hansen go off. Hopefully, maybe they bring his brother. But honestly, I'm just super excited for this season. And then maybe like the Giants, they win more than 5 games. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What are you excited for?
I don't know what else to say because you and me are pretty much been doing the same things, watching Red Zone.
I'll be here. We'll get wings. We're about to do that too.
Yeah, and I think another element of it is, can this season possibly top what happened last season? Last season had with all the close games, the tight competition around the NFL, it really delivered. And there was something interesting I saw, that the preseason game between the Lions and the Steelers that happened this past Sunday got better ratings than every individual NBA Christmas game this past season. That's
kind of crazy.
That shows you the kind of anticipation NFL fans are holding for this. It's that, the anticipation, and just seeing, we made all these predictions, we recapped all these divisions, but just seeing what comes true, what shocks us,
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
I'm ready to get heartbroken and feel